Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News and Indian Perspective on All India Radio. This is Vaibhav Jyotsna Srivastav, and with me is R.S. Raghu, bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment, and more. The headlines. Indian President Draupadi Murmu and Queen of Netherlands Maxima discuss various aspects of bilateral relations in New Delhi. India's reputation in the world has risen for providing quality medicine, says country's health minister. External Affairs Minister of India, Dr. S. Jaishankar, to visit UAE from 31st August to take part in the 14th India-UAE Joint Commission meeting and 3rd India-UAE Strategic Dialogue. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed his sadness over devastation caused by floods in Pakistan. China shuts down world's largest electronics market in Shenzhen city to contain the COVID outbreak. Russia calls upon international community to put pressure on Ukraine to reduce tensions at Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. NASA postpones mission to moon following engine and fuel leak issues. And US Open tennis tournament kicks off in New York. Indian President Draupadi Murmu on Monday held discussions with Queen Maxima of the Netherlands at the Rashtrapati Bhavan in New Delhi. During the meeting, they discussed various aspects of bilateral relations between India and the Netherlands. During the discussion, the two leaders discussed the Universal Financial Inclusion Initiatives. President Murmu said the Indian government is committed to connect every Indian citizen with formal banking channel to ensure delivery of benefits to the beneficiaries without any pilferage. Queen Maxima appreciated the progress made in India in this direction in the last few years. President Draupadi Murmu noted that the strategic partnership on water launched during the India-Netherlands virtual summit in last year and other dimensions of bilateral relations have witnessed improvement in recent years. Queen Maxima is on a 3-day visit to India. And now, in today's Hotspot section, we have a discussion on India-US defense cooperation. In conversation are former Ambassador Shashank and journalist Simran Sodhi.
Today we are discussing the India-US defense relationship, and we also see that recently the 13th edition of the India-US Joint Special Forces exercise took place in Himachal Pradesh in India. This annual exercise is hosted alternatively between India and the US. The 12th edition was conducted in the United States in October 2021. Ambassador Shashank, when you see this exercise in the drop of the fact that the India-US ties, especially the defense cooperation, is really going up, how significant is this military exercise then?
Well, it's an extremely important relationship which India and USA have developed, and for this century, I think this is supposed to be what was called by the US leaders as a defining partnership. So I think we have to keep on building it, because we know that there are a lot of weaknesses in the security systems in Asia Pacific or Indo-Pacific, and therefore it is very important that we continue to build up these ties so that there is total mutual confidence, interoperability, and whatever technical capabilities have been agreed upon in our comprehensive strategic partnership with the United States, they are carried forward. So we have had this Special Forces exercise, 21-day exercise, which just got over. We have also been having visits by our naval ships to USA. The Indo-Pacific region, maritime cooperation, naval cooperation is also very important. So I think all these are various aspects of the partnership with USA, which includes the science and technology, defense cooperation, space cooperation. So I think we have to build up on all these aspects. Till that time, we have to just make sure that we do not go into a situation where we are not fully prepared.
Ambassador Shashank, we also see that when the India-US relationship is talked about, especially the defense cooperation, we also keep in mind China and China's growing influence in the region. And we have seen how aggressive China has been in the South China Sea. Also, the border tensions with India continue. How much do you think does exercises like this and the increasing cooperation between India and the United States then act as a somewhat of a deterrent to China?
Well, it's important because we found that China was showing its muscles to its immediate South China Sea neighbors. They had been building islands and military installations on those islands in the South China Sea. They have been having exercises very close to some of the other countries. Some missiles had fallen near Japan. So I think we have to keep in mind that China needs to be conveyed very strong signals that Asia-Pacific countries on the maritime side in the Indo-Pacific region and bilateral cooperation with other countries in Asia as well as US, etc. We shall make sure that Asia remains peaceful and China is not able to destabilize the countries or destabilize peace in the region. We have seen that the way they have tried to move through their BRI in India's immediate neighborhood and some of the areas which are subject to discussion, negotiation between China and India. So they have been doing unilateral action there. They have been asking India to respect China's sovereign interests. At the same time, they are violating continuously India's sovereign interests. So I think we have to make sure that the signal goes very strongly in an unambiguous manner to China that this will not do. They must profess peace and at the same time they must practice peace also. And in the meantime, India will have to continue increasing its capabilities in partnership with the other countries, especially with the United States, because we are buying almost $21 billion worth of defense trade is already there with the US. And it is likely to increase, go into the area of joint production, into technology development, technology transfer. So I think all these things will have to continue. In the meantime, whatever partnerships we have with other countries, they will also be kept up.
Ambassador Shashank, do you feel that the Quad, which is quadrilateral setting of India, US, Australia and Japan, also somewhere helps strengthen the India-US defense cooperation, again especially in the context of the rise of China?
Well, indeed, this Quad was set up initially for overall comprehensive partnership in these four countries, among these four countries. At the same time, we are also thinking of having partnerships with other countries in the Indo-Pacific region who can become dialogue partners with the Quad. Second part is that, well, it's not just defense cooperation. Of course, it does create greater confidence, mutual respect, trust among these Quad member countries. But at the same time, it also have a wider connotation that there will be cooperation in other areas which have been identified in various Quad meetings. And so China is trying to be alarmist when it says that, no, it's NATO for Asia, and extension of NATO towards Asia. No, that is AUKUS. I think they should be quite clear in what they're talking about. India has its interest in mind. India would like Asia to remain peaceful. India would like South Asian countries, other Asian countries to remain in a peaceful environment. And we will do everything possible which is required to be done. For this, Quad is an important means to achieve that.
Ambassador Shashank, we also see that India's envoy to the United States has recently remarked that the cooperation between the navies of India and the US is one of the most dynamic and significant components of the bilateral defense ties. He underlined that the defense sector has emerged as a major pillar between the two countries, especially in the context of the India-Pacific. And the ambassador's these remarks have come during the historic visit of INS Satpura to San Diego last week. How much would you give significance to this recent development where we have the ambassador also pointing out the defense cooperation and the cooperation between the Indian and the US navies?
Well, it's extremely important that Indian Ambassador Taranjit Sandhu has attended the visit of the Indian INS Satpura to San Diego. Also, Secretary Navy and senior officers from the American side have been there. And so I think it is really marking the very important aspect of the defense cooperation between our two countries, that naval cooperation, the Indo-Pacific region cooperation between the two navies and with other navies in the area is a very robust, very important exercise, and we have continued with it. We'll continue to work on this even further. So I think we must continue to deal with this, as this is a very important area of cooperation, in which I must say that we are little latecomers, but we need to move ahead rather fast on this track.
Ambassador Shashank, we also see that in 2016, the US recognized India as a major defense partner under which Washington will continue to work towards facilitating technology sharing with India to bring it to a level which is commensurate with that of its closest partners and allies. And we have seen a steady intensification in defense trade, joint exercises, defense technology, even in cooperation in maritime security, counter piracy. How much do you think this is all happening also because we have seen that overall the India-US relationship in the recent one decade has really seen a robust growth and a greater strengthening of bilateral ties overall?
Well, it's a very comprehensive relationship, and it needs to have all components which are very strongly interwoven together. So major defense partner, one is a declaration, but at the same time we are now building up all the interlocking mechanisms, interoperability kind of mechanisms, high technical confidence in each other's capability. I think that is what is going on in different areas, and I think this will take time, but we have to continue working on all these areas. And as I said, that in the meantime we have to just ensure that there is no misunderstanding on the part of our existing partners with whom also we have strong relations. We have to keep our defense postures quite robust in other areas also. So I think we have to continue working on this. It's a global comprehensive strategic partnership with the USA, which will take time, but we have to keep on building all the components for this partnership.
Ambassador Shashank, we also see that this 13th edition of the India-US Joint Special Forces exercise, which concluded on 28th of August this year, this 21-day joint training also provided an opportunity for the special forces from both nations to train in airborne operations, special operations and counter-terrorism operations in a joint environment under the United Nations Charter. And the exercise was conducted in two phases. The first phase involved combat conditioning and tactical level special missions exercises, and the second phase included 48 hours of validation of training received by both contingents in the first phase. We also see that the counter-terrorism operation is also a part of these exercises. And we've also seen that India has been speaking at a lot of global forums about the need for the world to step up and take more responsibility, more action, especially when it comes to terrorist activities which are being launched against India from neighboring states, especially Pakistan. Do you feel that when you look at counter-terrorism, the world is finally recognizing what India has been repeating and at global forums for quite some time now?
Yes, absolutely. I think what has happened is in this bilateral exercise with the United States, that in the second phase we were able to validate whatever training joint operations were conducted over the previous couple of weeks. And I think that has been fully satisfactory, which has created a lot of confidence in the capabilities of the interoperability of both sides. So I think that is great achievement, and we need to further build up on all this. And India, which has been alerting the other countries in the region and outside that terrorism remains a great threat, especially to democratic countries. So it's not enough that we have a democratic countries partnership like Quad, but we have to ensure that all the countries, democratic countries, feel confident enough to deal with the challenges of terrorism and other challenges which are of expansionism by some other countries.
Ambassador Shashank, thank you.
Thank you.
India's Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandviya has urged country's pharma industry to focus on manufacturing quality medicines and increase their accessibility in the world market. Addressing the Silver Jubilee celebrations of the National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority (NPPA) in New Delhi on Monday, Dr. Mandviya said India's reputation has gone up in the world for providing quality medicine. He stressed on the need to focus on research to strengthen the pharma sector. The Indian minister said the global trust earned by the Indian healthcare sector has led to the nation being called the pharmacy of the world, and the export of pharmaceutical products has also increased. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh on Monday visited a premier radar station of the Indian Air Force IAF, where he witnessed the functioning of the Integrated Air Command and Control System. The system is the backbone of IAF's march towards network centricity and is a key enabler in operations. During his visit, Mr. Singh was demonstrated various networked operations conducted at varied locations across the country. These included the networked and synergized operations of fighter, transport and remotely piloted aircraft. The Indian Defence Minister was also briefed about the nuances of peacetime command and control functions, which include ensuring the air defence of critical areas on a day-to-day basis as well as during large events.
External Affairs Minister of India, Dr. S. Jaishankar, will be visiting United Arab Emirates from the 31st of this month for co-chairing the 14th India-UAE Joint Commission meeting and the 3rd India-UAE Strategic Dialogue with Foreign Minister of UAE Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan. During his 3-day visit, Dr. Jaishankar will also meet other dignitaries of UAE. External Affairs Ministry said these meetings will provide an opportunity to review the entire spectrum of comprehensive strategic partnership between India and UAE. This is All India Radio giving you the world news. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts.
In Pakistan, the unusually strong monsoon rains have caused devastating floods in large swaths, affecting more than 30 million people and killing more than 1,000 while straining official relief and rescue efforts. However, according to media reports, the final toll could be higher as hundreds of villages in the mountainous north have been cut off by flood-swollen rivers washing away roads and bridges. Pakistani officials blame climate change, which is increasing the frequency and intensity of extreme weather around the world. Meanwhile, the first 8 flights began arriving in Pakistan from Turkey and the UAE on Sunday as the country struggled to deal with monsoon flooding. Prime Minister of India Narendra Modi has said that he is saddened to see the devastation caused by the floods in Pakistan. Mr. Modi extended his heartfelt condolences to the families of the victims, the injured, and all those affected by this natural calamity. In a tweet, the Prime Minister expressed hope for an early restoration of normalcy in the country. In Afghanistan, the ruling Taliban's acting defense minister Mullah Muhammad Yaqub on Sunday said that Pakistan had allowed US drones to use its airspace to access Afghanistan. Afghan's acting minister of defense said that American drones had been entering Afghanistan via Pakistan. He also said that the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan's IEA radar system was destroyed when the US troops evacuated the country in August last year. Meanwhile, intelligence sources suggest that US drones were entering through Pakistan. However, Pakistani authorities have dismissed the claim.
China's technology hub Shenzhen on Monday ordered the closure of Huaqing Bay district, which is home to the world's largest electronics wholesale market, till Thursday to contain a recent spike in coronavirus cases in the southern city. Local authorities strengthened measures to curb rising COVID-19 cases, causing fresh disruptions to local supply chains. This comes amid a call by a leading Chinese think tank for a change in the country's zero-COVID policy that it said was causing widespread disruptions of business. The Shenzhen government has also ordered the indefinite closure of 24 metro stations, most of them located in commercial hubs of Fuxia and Lohu. 2 U.S. warships sailed through the Taiwan Strait on Sunday as China watched the passage cautiously. This was the first such U.S. operation in the Taiwan Strait since House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's visit to the democratically governed island in the beginning of this month. U.S. officials said that transits would continue and Chinese intimidation tactics would be challenged. The Eastern Theater Command of the Chinese People's Liberation Army PLA said on Sunday it monitored the 2 U.S. warships' passage, maintained high alert, and was ready to thwart any provocation. Russia on Monday called on the international community to put pressure on Kyiv to reduce tensions at the Moscow-controlled Zaporizhia nuclear plant in southeastern Ukraine that Moscow and Kyiv accuse each other of shelling. It has accused Ukraine of endangering Europe ahead of a visit to the facility by the UN nuclear watchdog. Talking to reporters, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said all countries are obliged to put pressure on the Ukrainian side so that it stops endangering the European continent by shelling the nuclear plant.
Over the past 75 years since independence, India's largest public service broadcaster, All India Radio, has been the proverbial storyteller for the 1.3 billion citizens across the country. All India Radio is celebrating 75 years of freedom with the series Azad Bharat Ki Baat Akashvani Ke Saath. It showcases the journey of India since independence in various walks of life through the storytelling of All India Radio.
आजाद भारत की बात आकाशवाणी के साथ, reliving the journey of India since independence over the last 75 years with All India Radio. From 15th August, the series is being broadcast on All India Radio, 100.1 FM Gold Channel, primetime news bulletins and across all its platforms. Tune in to stay updated with All India Radio.
In today's episode, we bring you landmarks of India's political journey.
Growth of regional parties in the country in the states like Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra and West Bengal led to the strengthening of multi-party democracy in the country. In the second general elections held in the year 1957, Kerala elected the EMS Namboodiripad-led first communist government in the world.
You see, I came to the communist movement through the anti-imperialist national movement. Within the Congress itself, we were in the left, and as leftist congressmen, we organized ourselves first in the Congress Socialist Party. At that time, the Communist Party was in existence at the All India level.
Soon after, rallies and demonstrations spearheaded by the then ruling party of the Union government, Indian National Congress, against the government's educational policies took place throughout the state. Following the protests, Namboodiripad-led communist government was dismissed under Article 356 on 31st of July 1959. In 1967, DMK came to power, defeating Congress Party under the leadership of C.N. Annadurai in Tamil Nadu.
Professors and students, they evince very keen interest in Asian problems. And when they take keen interest in Asian problems, they pay special attention to India because they consider India to be the experiment station for democracy. Therefore, they are interested in the success of democracy in India. Therefore, they are very much interested to analyze our actions, our activities and the results.
In 1977, AIADMK led by M.G. Ramachandran came to power in Tamil Nadu. MGR was the first actor to head a government in the world. Soon, another actor, N.T. Ramarao, formed a political outfit, Telugu Desam Party, in Andhra Pradesh and came to power in 1983, defeating Congress.
Sri Ramachandran has been my brother and my guru also. As an artist, not only he a colleague, but now in the present life as a politician, he has inspired me, has shown me the real path of repaying the adoration and the support we got from the people as artists.
In Maharashtra, Shiv Sena led by Bal Thackeray formed the first non-Congress government in 1995 in alliance with the Bharatiya Janata Party.
I am aloof from all these things. I am not getting allured to all this power politics. I don't want to occupy any chair. I don't want any position.
The country also witnessed the emergence of parties like Shiromani Akali Dal, National Conference, Aham Gon Parishad, Mizo National Front, Nationalist Congress Party, Jharkhand Mukti Morcha, Rashtriya Janata Dal United, Janata Dal Secular, Samajwadi Party, Trinamool Congress, YSR Congress, Telangana Rashtra Samiti and Aam Aadmi Party.
NASA has postponed the launch of the Artemis 1 mission to the moon due to a malfunctioning core stage engine. We have a report.
The American Space Agency had been set to launch on Monday its colossal next-generation rocket ship named as Artemis program on a long-awaited debut test flight, a planned 6-week uncrewed voyage around the moon and back, 50 years after Apollo's last lunar mission. The countdown clock was halted about 40 minutes before the targeted launch time as the 32-story tall two-stage space launch system SLS rocket and its Orion crew capsule awaited liftoff from the Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral in Florida. The U.S. Space Agency cited a problem detected on one of the rocket's main engines after launch teams had begun filling the rocket's core fuel tanks with supercooled liquid oxygen and hydrogen propellants. NASA did not give a new launch date but said its first available backup launch opportunity was set for Friday, 2nd of September. Tens of thousands of people, including U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris, had gathered along the beach near the Kennedy Space Center in Florida to watch the launch. The goal of the flight is to test the SLS and the Orion crew capsule that sits atop the rocket. Orion was due to carry a simulated crew of 3, 1 male and 2 female man and queens, fitted with sensors to measure radiation levels and other stresses that real-life astronauts would experience. Abhishek Mukhopadhyay for World News, All India Radio.
And now we move on to our special segment Potpourri. Today is not just any date for Michael Jackson fans. It is the birthday of the King of Pop, who was born on the 29th of August in 1958 at Gary in Indiana State of United States. Holder of several records such as that of the best-selling album with Thriller and Beat It, Michael Jackson was also at the heart of many controversies until his death, the most notable remaining the accusations of pedophilia and his physical transformation. But above all, he remains an artist of international stature whose work has profoundly marked the history tournament. The fourth and final Grand Slam of the year kicked off in New York today. On day one, defending champion and top seed Daniil Medvedev of Russia is facing Stepan Kozlov of America in the first round of men's singles event. In women's singles on the opening day, Russian Veronika Kudermetova, French Caroline Garcia and 29 seed American Alison Ruske Amritraj moved on to the second round. Meanwhile, focus will also be on the 23-time Grand Slam winner Serena Williams. After one of the greatest careers in tennis history, Serena is expected to play in her final tournament at the US Open. Here is a tribute to the legendary tennis player from the news desk.
What a kind of domination in the arena of tennis. Serena has won 23 Grand Slam titles, more than any other male or female player in the Open era. She was world number 1 for 319 weeks, holding that position for 186 consecutive weeks. An icon, a legend, the greatest of all time, an athlete who has been a fantastic ambassador for the game that she has adored and dedicated her life to. Serena Williams is a symbol and ruled the sport with every ounce of her blood and sweat. In a Vogue magazine article, Serena wrote, "I have never liked the word retirement. It doesn't feel like a modern word to me. Maybe the best word to describe what I'm up to is evolution. Yeah, it's just an evolution. She will be remembered for not only dominating the sport, but also transforming it." With Pratyush Ghosh's report, Aparajita Nair, All India Radio News.
Now let us take a look at the major developments around the world as reported in the foreign press. The Globe and Mail reports engine problem forces NASA to delay launch of new moon rocket. On Pakistan floods, The Guardian writes plea for help amid fears monsoon could put a third of country underwater. The Financial Times reports Shell chief warns Europe's energy crisis will last more than one winter. The Wall Street Journal says UN inspectors head to Ukraine nuclear plant as safety fears grow. The Japan Times report low food self-sufficiency could cripple Japan in Taiwan crisis.
And now a quick look at the headlines once again. Indian President Draupadi Murmu and Queen of Netherlands Maxima discuss various aspects of bilateral relations in New Delhi. India's reputation in the world has risen for providing quality medicines as country's health minister. External Affairs Minister of India Dr. S. Jaishankar to visit UAE from 31st August to take part in 14th India-UAE Joint Commission meeting and 3rd India-UAE Strategic Dialogue. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed sadness over devastation caused by floods in Pakistan. China shuts down world's largest electronics market in Shenzhen city to contain COVID outbreak. Russia calls upon international community to put pressure on Ukraine to reduce tensions at Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. NASA postpones mission to moon following engine and fuel leak issues, and US Open tennis tournament kicks off in New York. And now, before we end, let us listen to Mahatma Gandhi's favorite bhajan, Vaishnavajan, by artists from Kyrgyzstan. And with that, we end this bulletin. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.